Now let's continue adding function to our checkout page. So let's add an event inside the user amount. So every time there's a change in that element, or there's a value inputted by the cashier, then we're going to update or run a function or script. So if target ID is equals to the user amount, then let's just log for now to test. So let's try. So as you can see, it is showing. So now here, let's capture that insert. Let's make sure to parse it as a float. So let's try to log. Let's add a decimal. It's working fine, and now every time there's a change, we need to update the value or the change amount that we're going to give to the user. So here, let's try. So it's working. So now what we're going to do here is the change will be user amount minus the total order amount. So let's try if this works. Check out. So as you can see here, it is correctly showing in our console. So next thing we need to do here is we need to update the element that holds the change. So here, so as you can see, can do document query selector, and then inside the inner HTML, let's use the add comma function, and then inside is the change variable. Let's refresh. Let's check out. As you can see, oops, not working. Let's see. So as you can see here, we need to add additional tag maybe. So yeah, this one. Let's put the value inside the span element, and let's add a class. So just use change AMT. So now we can update the selector. It's fresh. So as you can see, it is updated correctly. However, we need also to change here, or maybe change the color if it's negative. So that means user is giving us a small amount if we compare to the total amount. So now let's see, check if change is less than 0, then so before that, let's just capture the user change. Then here, let's add the text danger if it's less than 0. So let's try 32. As you can see, the class is added correctly. So actually, we can use the key app. So every time we type to that text, as you can see, it is updated. So let's try again. As you can see, every time we type, the change variable is updated. So here, let's try to set the value to 0 if the user entered the string. So as you can see here, it's working correctly instead of the none. So inside the dialog, let's try to add a callback function. So once they click on the checkout button or to confirm the order, so this change, we can use this one. Let's check if change less than 0. Then if it's less than 0, this means we don't need to continue, so the user give us a money that is less than the total ordered amount. So let's just write a comment. So now let's load script. If it's less than 0, so this you need to define first this variable, so that user change. So here let's store this user change. Just use -1 as a default. So here let's just copy the load script dialog error. So we have that function. So let's try. So refresh. So let's check out. So that's negative. So as you can see, the error is showing. So here we need to prevent it from loading the dialog or closing the main dialog. So let's try to return an undefined variable. So let's just enclose them. So as you can see, it's working now. So now if checkout is true, we need to make a request to the database. So basically here we can use the product.php file, a post request, and then going to send the order items variable, which restore all the orders of the user. So this one should be a JSON. So let's refresh. Let's try to check out. Let's check the network. So as you can see, it is sent successfully. So let's just store them in a data variable, object.keys. Then here let's add an action. So inside this one, let's grab which action we want to run. And then here, if action will be equals to add product, then let's save the product, and then let's add a comment first. So actually this should be an action, and it should be checkout. The value should be checkout. So let's call the save products if the action is equals to checkout. So let's create that function, and then here let's just dump the data. Up 3, there's an error. So here we need to check if the action is set. That would remove the error. So now let's try check out, enter the amount, let's see the data. So you can see it's action, so it should be a post variable instead of get. So now let's try to refresh again. let's add an order, check out. So as you can see here, we have the data. We have the order items. So here we need to add the save statement, and then also the global or the connection. So we're going to loop each order items, and then let's just grab and paste it inside. So need to have the dbr variable. So let's try to check our sales table. So the structures, as you can see, we have customer ID, so we need to add the customer data in the checkout dialog. Let's have the user ID, which is the currently login user. So here maybe below we'll add the customer HTML or the inputs. So let's just change the margin or the padding margin of the element. And then here think we can add that below. So I'm just going to pause this one and then create the HTML for our customer data. So here is the fields: first name, last name, and the contact details. So as you can see, it is rendered properly. First name, we have the test first, and then contact. So we also need to update our script. We also need to capture those data. So here along with the data, let's add the customer object. So the first name would be the F name element, so last name would be the L name, and then the contact is the contact element. So let's try to bar dump the data. Before we dump, let's just make sure to pass the value or get the value. So here let's check out and let's see. As you can see, oops, so the contact details is passed. So here we'll just need to grab that customer variable, and then here let's insert first. So before we insert to the sales, we'll need to have the customer data. So we'll grab this one, and then here let's check the details or the fields, the properties of the customer. So we have the first name, last name, so we have the address and the contact, then the date created, date updated. So here the placeholder, the same thing, just let's try to views old code or my code. Let's check the format. So we have here, so the same thing, we'll just add the colon for each keys or column, a colon for each column. And then I think let's grab this one, So here we'll need to have an associative array. So the first name is the customer first name, last name, and then contact, the address. So we haven't added that in our form. So the date created and date updated will be the date to this one. So here we'll need to get the last ID inserted since we are going to add it to our sales. So let's just grab and paste that here. Customer ID is the last connection and then the last insert ID. So now this looks good. So let's just done the test if this works. So actually the address we'll need to add or update first our front end, and here we'll update or add the address. Should be that one. Refresh. Let's check out. So this should be last name label. So here we have an error, undefined inventory customers. So actually this connection that we have, it is from the inventory. So since we'll be dealing with two connections or two database, we can create a new one which points to the point of cell DB, and then inside the globals variable we can create or store that connection for the POS. So now in our product.php we can use that con POS. So now let's try again, and then check out. So as you can see there's no error and it shows the customer. So let's check. So this was saved correctly. So now here let's try to add so we have the customer data added. Now we are going to add or insert in the sales table. So let's check the structure. Let's grab all these IDs or columns instead. Date created, date updated, then also in our placeholder, and add that column character. So here let's just grab this one and put let's just prepare the dbr variable. So the date created will be this value. So the change amount will be the total amount. The user ID is the, so let's grab that one from the I think the login page. We store the session inside the session variable. So the user ID is, so let's just move that one outside the order item loop. So the customer ID, we have that. The change amount, we don't have that variable. So let's just get all these variables. So the amount tendered total amount, we can pass that one in our script. So the total amount is, so we store that in our global variable. Same way the change, which is the user change variable. So as you can see here, we pass them. So the user amount, let's just add that one, user EMT, or the tendered amount. And then also let's define that here. Then let's grab those, and then we're going to capture get them. So store them in the variable post data or post variable data with the change, and then the tendered amount. So now we can just grab them. So for now, let's hard code it the user ID, since we don't have that feature. So the user ID will be from our inventory database. So the value is 31. Use that as an ID. So let's prepare and then save. Then we'll get the sales ID. Now let's add or insert the order items to our database. So here we loop to the order items, and then we'll have the insert statement. So it should be inside the sales item table. So let's just grab these columns. Also inside the values, let's add this column, and then of course the dbr, which the real values is stored. So let's prepare the array. So now let's grab the sales ID, the product ID, then the quantity. So order item. So let's try first check the format, and we have an error, but anyways, we'll just grab this one, order QTY. The unit price is the price, and then the amount is the amount, and then also the created date updated will be that value. So let's execute the command. So let's remove that one, and then we also need to update our products inventory records. So every time we order an item, we need to remove it or decrease the product stacks. So that is coming from our new connection, so the inventory connection. So we have here, let's just check out my inventory file. We have the update statement. So I'm going to grab this as a reference. So I'm just going to update this one. Here in our inventory, the products should be the products, and then the quantity. So let's check the products, should be a stock equals, so here we're going to remove this. So the first question mark is the new stock, and the second would be the product IDs. But how do we get the new stock? So we'll need to fetch first the current stock of the items. This here will get the current stock. Fetch the current stock. Then here let's update the SQL, so we'll get the products that stock only, where product ID or the ID is equals to the product ID. So let's just dump the product. So let's try. So as you can see, we have an error. Just comment that out. Now they are undefined. Let's just refresh. Let's check out. Let's update the amount. So the POS, so actually these should be using the inventory connection, so we move that one to the top. Let's try. So as you can see, we have the stock. So let's grab that one, and we'll make sure it should be an integer. Now the new stock will be the current stock minus the current quantity ordered by the user. So let's also make that integer, and then let's remove the comment for our stock updating script. So we have an error here. So here we just add the comma. So it is showing correctly. So let's try. Milo has 140 stock. Let's add. So Nescafe has 14. So let's try if it decreased the stock. Check out. So the dump. So we have that code, but let's check. So as you can see, the stock has decreased from the inventory, and also we added the customers. And as you can see here, the total amount tender, they are saved. However, there's an issue, something to do with the length of our columns. So but the products are saved correctly. So now let's just update the structure of this, increase the length of the columns. So let's make it 10. Sales item also, let's update this double. Let's make them 10. So now let's remove the var dump, and then here we're going to return a success or an error statement. So this will put them inside a try and catch statement. So try, and then inside the try will be the true, and if there's error we'll return with false and get the message. So also in our script.js, let's check if type is response success. Basically we're going to add the dialog. So the title would be based on the response. So if it's success, then we'll add the success, or we'll add an error. Then the message will get the message variable or the object. And if callback, so if it's okay, our user click OK and the response is a success, then we're going to reset the data. And we don't have that function yet, so let's create the reset data. So we'll need to have an updated products list. So this one, we'll need to update this one once we save or there are new orders. So here the reset data will add or update the products variable. So if you remember, this is where we store the product items. So what we're going to do is we'll just grab that one and then let's paste inside. So here we need to pass the new products JSON. So inside our saving of script or saving of order items, we'll need to fetch new record or updated data, so we can use the get products, and then here we can pass that one. So these products of our knowledge just use let product JSON and get the dot products variable, which stores all the updated products from our database. And then here the load script JSON, we're going to loop and put it inside the file or inside that variable. And also those default, we're going to audit them here. So let's try. So there's an error, callback. This one, I need to add a comma. Let's refresh and add new items. Let's check out. And nothing is happening. Let's see. There's no response. So here we need to remove first the try statement. See, so let's check out. Nothing is being returned. So actually we'll need to echo, I guess. Let's try echo instead of returning. So let's try again. Order successfully checkout. So it's working. However, we have an error again. So response that products, we need to pass the response from the server. So here we have the product success is true. However, we run an error. So here we need to pass the response, and then let's also check or update the type. Test 30. So it didn't work. However, the copy code is now 0 stock customers are added and then we have the sales item and the sales added correctly. The resetting of data didn't work, so let's try again. We'll need to also update the order item table, so basically refreshing this table, order this table. So let's try again. As you can see, it is working properly.